What would you do if betrayal unfolded before your very eyes? If the person you trusted most shattered your world in a single moment, how would you respond? Would you walk away, fight back, or seek revenge? Welcome to Unheard Stories, the channel where we bring you tales of betrayal, heartbreak, and redemption that will leave you hooked until the very last word. This is the place where untold stories come to life, stories of love lost, trust broken, and the unexpected strength that comes from picking up the pieces. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. It's always amazing to see how far our community stretches. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story. Today's tale is one of betrayal, but also of transformation and justice. It's the story of Ethan, a man whose life was upended by infidelity, but who turned his pain into power and built a new life stronger than ever before. So, grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's dive into this incredible journey. Trust me, you won't want to miss a single twist. Ethan Pierce was the kind of man who had everything, or so it seemed. At 34, he had built a successful career as a financial consultant, lived in a beautiful home, and shared his life with his wife, Olivia. They had been married for 8 years, and their relationship appeared flawless from the outside. Friends envied their bond, often calling them the perfect couple. Olivia was stunning and charismatic, with a natural charm that drew people to her. She worked as a marketing executive, a career that often demanded long hours and late-night meetings. Ethan admired her drive and confidence, grateful to have such a strong, independent partner by his side. But over the past few months, something had shifted. Ethan began noticing small changes in Olivia's behavior, changes that seemed insignificant at first but grew harder to ignore. She started coming home later than usual, claiming her workload had increased. Her phone, once casually left on the coffee table, was now always in her hand or tucked away. Notifications seemed constant, and she'd glance at them with a secretive smile before quickly putting her phone down. At night, Ethan would sometimes wake up to find her sitting on the edge of the bed, whispering into her phone. "Just work," she would say with a tired smile when he asked. But her tone seemed off, and Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Their conversations became shorter, her laughter more forced. Even her affection felt rehearsed. Still, Ethan convinced himself that this was just a rough patch, that they were simply navigating the stress of busy lives. He loved Olivia and trusted her, but the doubt in his mind was growing, threatening to disrupt their perfect life. Ethan didn't realize it yet, but he was standing at the edge of a revelation that would change everything. One Tuesday afternoon, Ethan finished work earlier than usual due to a canceled meeting. Excited at the prospect of spending unexpected time with Olivia, he decided to surprise her with her favorite wine and an evening in together. When he walked into the house, the silence struck him. The usual hum of music or the clatter of Olivia preparing dinner was absent. Instead, the house felt eerily still. "Olivia?" he called out, setting the wine bottle on the counter. No response. Ethan noticed her phone on the coffee table, glowing with a notification. It was unusual for her to leave it unattended, and curiosity got the better of him. Picking it up, he saw a message preview that made his stomach drop. "Marcus, last night was amazing. I can't stop thinking about you." His heart raced as he unlocked the phone, the passcode still the same. The messages between Olivia and Marcus told a story Ethan wasn't prepared for. They were explicit, filled with flirtation and plans for secret meetings. There were photos too, selfies of the two together, smiling in places Ethan had never been. Ethan's world began to spin. Unable to contain his growing dread, he searched the house. When he reached their bedroom, he pushed the door open and froze. Olivia was lying on the bed, her golden hair tousled. Beside her was Marcus, shirtless, propped up on one elbow. Both turned in shock as Ethan stood in the doorway, his expression a mix of fury and heartbreak. "Ethan?" Olivia gasped, clutching the sheets. "What the hell is this?" he demanded, his voice trembling with rage. Marcus scrambled to get up, stammering excuses, but Ethan's focus was solely on Olivia. She tried to explain, her words faltering as Ethan cut her off. "Get out," he said coldly. "Both of you. Now." The confrontation was the boiling point of Ethan's discovery. After finding explicit messages on Olivia's phone and catching her in bed with Marcus, Ethan's emotions were a storm of anger, betrayal, and heartbreak. When he burst into the room, Olivia and Marcus froze, their guilt written across their faces. Marcus, panicked, fumbled for an excuse, trying to claim he didn't know Olivia was married. Olivia, on the other hand, quickly shifted to pleading with Ethan, trying to explain away her actions. Her words were filled with blame-shifting, She accused Ethan of neglecting her, of being too focused on his work. But Ethan wasn't having any of it. He refused to let her excuses diminish the gravity of her betrayal. His voice trembled with a mix of fury and pain as he demanded answers, his hurt erupting in sharp, pointed words. When her pleas turned into begging for forgiveness, Ethan made his stance clear. This wasn't a mistake he could forgive, it was a deliberate choice she had made repeatedly. With a cold finality, he ordered both of them out of his house, ignoring Olivia's tears and Marcus's stammered apologies. It was a defining moment for Ethan, a declaration that he wouldn't be a victim of her deceit any longer. In the days following the confrontation, Ethan's pain turned into a need for understanding. He couldn't let himself be consumed by questions of why and how. Instead, he resolved to find the truth. He dove into Olivia's phone, her emails, and even financial records, piecing together the story of her betrayal. What he uncovered was more than an affair, it was a calculated scheme. Messages between Olivia and Marcus revealed that their relationship had been ongoing for months, if not longer. They spoke about him, mocking his trust and discussing plans for a future together. Worse still, Ethan found evidence of financial manipulation. Olivia had forwarded herself sensitive information from Ethan's work accounts, and messages with Marcus detailed plans to use his money to fund their dreams of a new life. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was strategic and targeted. This discovery was the final blow for Ethan. It turned his heartbreak into a cold resolve. Olivia and Marcus hadn't just betrayed his trust, they had tried to exploit him. With every piece of evidence he gathered, Ethan's determination to hold them accountable grew stronger. Ethan's revenge wasn't born out of rage, it was methodical, deliberate, and justified. The first step was protecting himself. He worked with his lawyer, Rachel, to secure his finances, freezing shared accounts and ensuring Olivia couldn't access another penny. He canceled her credit cards and redirected his funds, leaving her without the financial safety net she had taken for granted. Next, Ethan exposed the truth. Armed with the evidence of Olivia's infidelity and Marcus's schemes, he reached out to their friends and family. He didn't embellish or exaggerate, he simply presented the facts, letting their actions speak for themselves. The fallout was immediate. Olivia's carefully curated image of a devoted wife shattered, and Marcus found himself ostracized by their social circle. But Ethan didn't stop there. Knowing Marcus's shady background, Ethan shared incriminating information with Marcus's employer, leading to an internal investigation. Marcus's reputation, already tarnished, took a devastating blow when he was suspended. Finally, Ethan served Olivia with divorce papers. The documents were backed by the mountain of evidence he had collected, ensuring a swift and favorable outcome for him. The legal process was more than just a formality, it was Ethan's way of reclaiming his life and closing the chapter on their marriage. Ethan's revenge wasn't about pettiness or spite. It was about justice and self-respect. He refused to let Olivia and Marcus walk away unscathed, ensuring they faced the consequences of their actions. In doing so, he took back his power, turning his pain into a catalyst for change. After the dust settled from his confrontation with Olivia and his calculated revenge, Ethan was left with the echoes of his pain. The betrayal had rocked him to his core, and while exposing Olivia and Marcus had provided a sense of justice, it didn't erase the emotional scars. Ethan realized he needed to focus on healing, not just surviving. His first step was therapy. Sitting across from a counselor, Ethan found it difficult to open up at first, but as sessions went on, he began unpacking the layers of pain, self-doubt, and anger. The therapist guided him to understand that Olivia's betrayal wasn't a reflection of his worth, but her own choices. This perspective was a turning point, allowing him to start letting go of the blame he had directed inward. Ethan also rediscovered himself in ways he hadn't expected. He picked up hobbies he had long abandoned, like painting, which became an outlet for his emotions. Each brushstroke felt like a small step toward healing, turning his pain into something tangible and, eventually, beautiful. Through a local art class, Ethan met Mia. She was warm, kind, and understanding, a stark contrast to the calculated coldness he had experienced with Olivia. Their connection wasn't rushed or intense, it was gentle and genuine, built on mutual respect and shared values. Mia didn't try to fix Ethan or push him to move faster than he was ready. Instead, she became a quiet but steadfast presence in his life, reminding him that love, when given freely and sincerely, could be a force for healing. As weeks turned into months, Ethan began to feel whole again. Therapy, art, and Mia's companionship helped him rebuild his confidence and rediscover his identity beyond the betrayal. He wasn't just moving on, He was moving forward, stronger and more self-assured than ever. Months after the divorce was finalized, Olivia reached out, asking for a meeting. Initially, Ethan considered ignoring her request, but he realized that closure wasn't just about moving on, it was about facing the past with clarity and strength. When they met, Olivia appeared visibly worn, a shadow of the confident woman she had once been. She apologized, her voice trembling as she admitted to the pain she had caused. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said, tears streaming down her face. "But I needed to tell you I'm sorry." Ethan listened calmly, no longer the broken man she had once left behind. Her words, while sincere, no longer held power over him. He thanked her for the apology but made it clear that forgiveness didn't mean reconciliation. "I've moved on, Olivia," he said. "And I hope you can find your own peace, but that peace isn't something I can give you. It's something you'll have to create for yourself." The conversation ended with finality but also with grace. Ethan walked away from the meeting feeling lighter, as though a chapter of his life had finally closed. Olivia's actions no longer defined him. He had reclaimed his story, and her presence in it was now firmly in the past. With the ghosts of his past behind him, Ethan embraced a fresh start. He moved to a new city, choosing a vibrant, artistic community where he could focus on his newfound passion for painting. His studio became a sanctuary, a place where he could create and inspire others with his journey of resilience and renewal. Ethan's artwork began to gain attention, not just for its beauty but for the story it told. A story of pain transformed into strength, of betrayal turned into self-discovery. His pieces resonated with others who had experienced heartbreak, offering them hope and a reminder that healing was possible. Mia became a constant in his life, their relationship growing deeper with each passing day. Together they built a life filled with love, trust, and shared adventures. They traveled, explored, and supported each other's dreams, turning their connection into a foundation for a future neither of them had thought possible. One evening, as Ethan stood in his studio looking out over the city, he reflected on how far he had come. The life he was living now was one he had created for himself, authentic, meaningful, and filled with joy. Betrayal had once threatened to define him, but it had instead become the catalyst for his transformation. He had turned his pain into art, his heartbreak into growth, and his life into something worth celebrating. As he picked up his brush and began a new piece, Ethan smiled, knowing that this wasn't the end of his story. It was simply the beginning of a chapter filled with endless possibilities and hope. So that's Ethan's story, a journey that began with betrayal but ended with transformation, healing, and hope. He turned heartbreak into a masterpiece, showing us all that even in our darkest moments, we have the power to rise, rebuild, and thrive. Now, I want to hear from you. Speech balloon, what would you have done if you were in Ethan's shoes? Have you ever faced a betrayal like this? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Backhand index pointing right. If this story moved you, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who might need inspiration, and don't forget to subscribe to Unheard Stories for more incredible tales of resilience and redemption. Hit the bell icon to stay updated on our next release. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Thank you for watching, and remember, no matter how hard life gets, there's always a way to rise above it and create something beautiful. Until next time, take care and keep writing your own story.